Welcome to the GTN Show. Today, I'm asking, what is your biological age? Is it younger than your actual age? I'm going to be looking at the benefits of triathlon on our health and in particular how that reflects on our predicted age. And I'm afraid to say, it is not all positive news. Well, there's also a lot of news from the first Ironman in the Pro Series. On top of that, we have the actual race news from South Africa. Yeah, we have our very own man on the ground in James, who'll be bringing us the lowdown from his homeland. There's also a new World Championship venue for Xterra, a new energy-dense packed tube bar from Precision Fuel and Hydration, plus we're going to be taking a quick look ahead at the absolutely action-packed race schedule that's coming up. As it's just me, you get a little insight into what and who I follow on social media, because these are the bits that I've spotted over the last few days. And I think anyone in the world of triathlon will have spotted the fact that Taylor Knibb has announced that she is not racing the T100 Singapore. It was obviously big news when she announced that she was racing it, and sadly, it's equally big news that she isn't. She has left us kind of guessing and left herself open to rumours, I suppose, when she has put here, due to personal reasons, I will not be racing or travelling to the T100 Triathlon in Singapore. I'm looking forward to racing the next stop of the tour at the T100 Triathlon San Francisco. Now, interestingly, in between now and San Francisco is the Ironman Texas, the full Ironman, and she's obviously also said that she's wanting to race that because she's hoping to race the World Championships later in the year. So we're just going to have to guess what those personal reasons might be. I mean, hopefully it is nothing serious, and hopefully she will be back racing in good form and we'll be able to still fit in the required T100 series races. On top of Taylor, we've also got a withdrawal from Singapore for more obvious reasons, I guess it's fair to say, from Morgan Pearson. Sadly, he did have a little mishap on his bike, and he's posted this on Instagram saying, unfortunately, I'll not be able to start in Singapore next week. Had a nasty crash and fractured my wrist. Tried to work through it for a bit, but decided with the help of his doctor that it'd be wise to just let the bone heal and not push it. Yeah, I'd say I agree. But Morgan will be there watching from the sidelines. I don't know if that's worse or not, but I'm glad that he's made that decision to rest, especially so early in the year, and hopefully he can get back. And we're excited to see him as part of the T100 series. Just vying away from triathlon for a moment, it's back on the focus on Beth Potter again. Now, last week we did talk about her very fast 31:14, I think it was, for her 10K, which apparently was a massive PB. We didn't realise that at the time. Well, off the back of that impressive race, she has been selected to represent Great Britain at the European Road Running Championships. So just having a little bit of time out from triathlon. And a few of you sort of mentioned, well, why are we talking about a 10K race? Well, it is because Beth Potter won a bronze medal in both the relay and the individual at the Olympics last summer. So she is still very much a triathlete, and we'll be coming back to triathlon, but we just like to follow what some of the triathletes are up to outside of maybe the pure swim, bike and run, so to speak. But yeah, just some fast running coming from Beth Potter. And now a little bit of a look at some of the news that has filtered out from Ironman South Africa. It was the first of the full Ironman distance in the Pro Series, and there was drama, there was disappointment, there was also obviously excitement and some great performances as well. But its first post I've spotted from Ruth Arstor, and I think it's just a real reflection of how honesty is just so lovely to see when it comes from, well, anyone, but in particular from the pros. And we saw Ruth before her race just putting up a post saying how she was just had the best build going into this race. She was really excited to be back. She had the longest period of running in ages. And I just read that and I was just like, that's so cool. She's battled with injury for so long. I'm really excited to see her perform. I didn't follow the race, but then I did sadly see a couple of posts she put up, and her one previous to this was just saying that she was disappointed and she had the less watts than she managed to put out when she was racing as an age grouper. So obviously something went wrong. But then she's obviously reflected on that and just had this post saying, yesterday was tough. I let myself feel it and wallow in self-pity for the day. Massive thanks to 2 volunteers consoling me in the food tent. After a good night's sleep, I woke up with a little more perspective and, more importantly, a glimmer of hope. This morning, I reminded myself of all the things to be grateful for and that bring me joy. And she's just listed out here, training with friends, travelling to incredible places, having the most supportive friends and family, irrelevant of race results. And she just goes on to say that, yeah, she's obviously still a little bit frustrated and sad, but reflecting on the fact that she has got a lot of things to smile about. So just a really nice reflective post that we often maybe don't see, and we just so focus on performance when we're watching the pros race. A little bit of disappointment for Mike Phillips racing. This picture probably tells you most of what you need to know. He says the wounds will heal, but the race suit's likely toast. Yeah, I think it might be. Gutted to crash out. Just got up to 5th, 5k from the bike finish when a big gust on a rough patch took my front wheel out at 50 kilometers an hour. Brutal day. Massive respect to all who raced out there. I mean, that just makes you shiver, doesn't it? That is a nasty mess of his body, but hopefully sending healing vibes to Mike Phillips. A more, well, I guess, positive story in the long term outrun here from this one that's been posted by Ironman Tribe, but it was actually following the professional Chloe Lane, who had a mechanical out on the bike, and she had spares with her, but not what she needed. And it turned out basically she needed assistance, and the neutral support wasn't anywhere near. So she's like, well, I'm not just going to wait here to see when the moto turns up and, hopefully get me back on weight. I'm going to go out and see if anyone can actually help. And there's a clip here of her basically just trying to sort of see if any age groupers can help. And only on the second attempt did someone stop to help her, which was really lovely. So it was actually Port Witchenberg from South Africa who came to the assistance of Chloe Lane. And yeah, she was there at the finish line to congratulate him when he actually finished his race as well. So just a really lovely story in triathlon, just showing how important the family and friends aspect is of our sport. And just, yeah, really nice note. On to Tri news, and next year the Xterra World Championships turns 30. Now, back in 2022, they came to Europe for the first time. So previous to this, all of the Xterra World Championships had been held in Maui in Hawaii, and obviously it was a great treat for us being Europeans, having it come a little bit closer to us. So it was held in Trentino in the Italian mountains, or just on the edge of the mountains. This summer, however, will be the final time that Europe will see it for a little while. We don't quite know when it is coming back. However, it's going back across the pond, but not to Maui this time. Instead, Ruidoso in New Mexico will be the new host of the Xterra World Championship. So just on the edge of the Sierra Blanca Mountains. And from the photos, it looks absolutely stunning. And that is one thing that Xterra have always nailed. If you've ever done an Xterra event, I'm pretty sure you will have been to a stunning location. All the ones I've been to are beautiful. Just a little bit gutted that we have missed a chance to race World Championships on our doorstep, but maybe GTN will have to head across the pond and go and visit New Mexico, because yeah, it looks pretty special. Well, we talk about power to weight ratios a lot in triathlon. What about carb to weight ratios? Yeah, this is a new one to me, but it's a concept that is being addressed by our partners at Precision Fuel and Hydration, as they have a brand new bar that is absolutely packed with carbohydrate. In fact, the 68-gram bar has a whopping 60 grams of carbs. So that's the equivalent of 2 gels packed into this, I say bar, it's more of a large chew. So if you have previously used their chew blocks, they were 30 grams for those 2 little blocks in a packet that had the cardboard backing. This now is a solid bar, it holds itself together, it doesn't need the cardboard, so it means it's that much easier to get into and you don't have to have so much rubbish to put back in your pocket afterwards. Well, this product's actually been developed with the Lotto cycling team, and I think just part of the trend that's going in cycling now of such huge carb numbers to get in per hour, that basically the less weight you've got to carry for the more amount of carbohydrates has to be a good thing. And it's definitely going to cross over really nicely into long distance triathlon when you're trying to fill your pockets or your bento box. And it's one that I think even I might dab into, but it might not need a couple of those an hour. Maybe one an hour would be pushing it for me. They've kept the same flavors they had for the original chews. So you've got just the original flavor or the mint and lemon, but that's actually together. So that's just to help with reducing taste fatigue, because it does definitely kind of give the taste buds something to think about. But these bars are now out. They've been out for a couple of days, and you can find them on the Precision Fuel and Hydration website. Well, recently there's been a lot of talk about biological age and how to reduce it. You might have seen the documentary on Netflix, Don't Die, The Man Who Wants to Live Forever, which follows Brian Johnson, a 47-year-old man on a mission to beat aging. Now, Johnson references a daily 45 to 60-minute routine of 25 exercises plus brief HIIT and then 1 or 2 hikes a week. Well, this has got us thinking. As triathletes, are we helping increase our lifespan, or could we be going too far the other way with all of our training and actually reducing our chance of living longer? I mean, when we talk about aging, there is chronological age and then biological age. You can't change your chronological age. It is the time from birth that you've been on this planet. That's your number on your passport. Your biological age, however, is a prediction using biological markers and physiological functions. So this can be higher or lower than your chronological age, and in theory, it can be used to sort of help predict your life expectancy. Well, generally, sport is thought of as positive when it comes to health and life expectancy. Do sport, live longer. I mean, that's due to all the positives that are associated with being fit and active, such as improved cardiovascular health, muscle and bone strength, better metabolism, better mental health, improved sleep, to name but a few. Well, let's just look a little closer at some of those elements of predicted biological age. Your cardiovascular health. Well, regular aerobic exercise is proven to improve heart health, reduce blood pressure, and generally help with circulation. I think that's sort of quite well known. You've also then got muscle and bone health. So exercise puts stress on our muscles and our joints and our bones, stimulating them to repair and grow, helping to keep bone density, muscle mass at a certain level, two things that definitely drop off as we get older. You've got improved metabolism. So regular exercise helps us to maintain healthy blood sugar levels, reduces the chance of diabetes, something that does become more common in the older population. Obviously, that's unless you're maybe doing 170 grams of carbs every day, but that's another conversation. Then we've got mental health and cognitive function. I think we all agree that we feel better after exercise. Regular exercise improves our mental health, increases the release of neurotrophic factors, which are proven to help against the cognitive decline. In fact, there have been recent studies actually that link exercise reducing the risk of Alzheimer's. So there's a lot of encouragement on that aspect. There's also the improved stress management and sleep. This one is a big one for me. Exercise is proven to help people sleep better, and we obviously all know the importance of sleep on our overall health. It's that time when our brain and our body can recover from the daily stresses. Now, it also reduces inflammation. We're now talking about the chronic type here. Athletes often have lower levels of systematic inflammation. Another positive when it comes to biological aging. This point, though, does have a caveat, so I'll be coming back to that one shortly. Now, a little bit scientific here, the telomere length. What am I on about? Okay, well, telomeres are attached to the chromosomes, and their length is actually a measure that some researchers use to show our biological age. So the longer telomeres are an indicator of reduced biological age and are found in those who regularly exercise. Now, as triathletes, I think it's fair to say that we exercise regularly and consistently, and on the whole, we're conscious of what we eat in order to help fuel our body for training and recovery. So all of this sounds rather positive for our sport, but when does exercise become training, and what is the optimal amount of exercise for optimal health? I mean, the exact tipping point is actually unknown. There are so many variables for there to be any significant research on this. However, as triathletes, there is the danger of undoing some of those health benefits. Overtraining is a common one. Once you tip into this, you're going to be undoing the stress and inflammation benefits, and potentially even going into ruining your sleep. So this could start to increase your biological age. Well, it's also vital to make sure you're fueling your body well in order to keep the muscle and bone building benefits that you get from exercise. Well, there are various tests available that claim to measure biological age, but at this stage, they are variations of science meeting guesswork. So it might be fun to see what your smartwatch tells you that your biological age and whether it's lower than your chronological age, but don't get bogged down with that number. It's just a bit of fun. Instead, wear sun cream, eat well, and recover well. And I don't think I need to add in exercise regularly. Well, let me know if you think triathlon increases your biological age, or maybe you're someone who's training for an Ironman and you actually feel that you're tipping over the peak and you're increasing your biological age. I would love to know. Right now, I feel like as I'm getting fitter, but I'm not doing too much training, that maybe, I'm improving mine, but who knows? Do let me know what you think in the comments section below. And now, in case you've had enough of my voice, it is time to head to South Africa because James has got the race news.
Hi guys from South Africa, giving you a bit of an update on the first Ironman in the Pro Series, and it was quite the race. Really tough conditions, I'll get to those in a minute, and a pretty stacked field, although quite a few of the pros, it seemed, suffered from some kind of stomach flu in the week leading up, including Martin van Riel, although he managed to get himself right before the race actually happened. A few others didn't, and we had a few DNSs and a few DNFs too because of that. Anyway, the day got started with a swim that looked pretty flat, but it was anything but out there apparently. It was cold, there was a wind whipping up the surface, and it was really, really tough conditions, and that was reflected in the times. In fact, first out the water was Marta Sanchez on the women's side. She had 8 minutes on Germany's Anne Reichmann out of the water, 5 minutes on Maya Stage Nielsen, with Chloe Lane about 90 seconds behind her. Unfortunately, Chloe Lane would get a puncture at the end of lap 1 and spend 15 minutes trying to repair it. She did get going again, but yeah, you can't give up 15 minutes in a Pro Series race and still be in contention. However, Anne Reichmann was all about the work on the bike, and she actually closed that 8-minute gap, catching Marta Sanchez just before T2, before leading out onto the run. The gap between them yo-yoed throughout the whole run, between 90 seconds and 3 minutes, and it came and it went, and we didn't really know which way it was going to go. However, it was Anne Reichmann who prevailed on the run to take the win, about 3 minutes ahead of Marta Sanchez in second, with Katrin Christensen in third from Denmark, Laurie Jansen from Germany in fourth, and Maya Stage Nielsen in fifth, getting that final Nice spot for this year. On the men's side, a bit of a closer affair on the swim, but also some slow swim times that you would expect these guys to go significantly faster, just a measure of how the conditions were out there. Martin van Riel led out the swim, although Jamie Riddle had actually been in the front for most of the swim and led out the Aussie exit at halfway. So Martin van Riel coming around him at the end there. Jamie Riddle with that group, Jonas Schomburg and Andrew Horsfall Turner also in that group of 4 in the lead. 2.5 minutes down was Magnus Ditlev and a whole group of guys. Magnus Ditlev set to work on the bike, as you would expect him to do. He caught Martin van Riel and Jonas Schomburg at around 60 Ks, stayed with them for a bit before putting the hammer down on that final lap of the bike, and he actually got a 9-minute lead coming off the bike. 4:07 he biked on this course. I mean, it was pretty windy, so you had quite a tailwind on the back section, but this course is not a fast course, and that is very impressive. He had 9 minutes faster than Martin van Riel, which meant that the run was pretty much Magnus Ditlev's to lose, and he didn't. He ran a solid 2:40 to take the win ahead of Martin van Riel in second, who did what he said he was going to do here and stamped that Nice spot, which is what he was aiming for, although he did also want the win. He did run a 2:38, but it wasn't enough to catch Magnus Ditlev. Jonas Schomburg in his Ironman debut getting third, which is very impressive and definitely a man to watch in long course going forward, because he said he didn't do much specific training for this and it was kind of a training race for him. So yeah, very impressive. Jonas Hoffmann from Germany in fourth, and South Africa's Jamie Riddle, a very solid debut in fifth and getting that final Nice spot for this year. Well, that's it from me here in South Africa. I'm going to keep working hard on the beach. Back to you guys in the studio.
Well, thank you, James, and I do hope that you are working hard on that beach. Well, it's time now to look ahead in a few days at an absolutely crazy weekend of triathlon. So first up, we've got the first of the Race to Qatar, the T100 in Singapore, which we mentioned earlier. It was a couple of names missing, but there is still an absolutely packed field, and I'm personally really excited to see the return on the women's side of Lucy Charles-Barkley and see what form she is in. Also, Flora Duffy has been spending more time working on her TT bike, and we know how strong and incredible athlete she is, and she hasn't really spent time focusing on this distance, so it's going to be interesting to see what she can deliver. Yet to see if Els Visser makes a sort of recovery from South Africa in time, because it is a very tight window to just logistically get to Singapore, but then also be ready. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. We've also got Jess Learmonth, who's focusing on that on this race this season, or this distance. And then, of course, the defending champion and I'd now say the favourite, Ashley Dental, who does so well in the heat. So that's the women's side. On the men's race, we've got the return of Hayden Wild, who'll be coming back up to distance, having raced in Abu Dhabi at the WTCS, and then the really short format in Levin in the World Cup. So we've seen glimpses of his form, but I think he has been focusing more on the longer distance. He'll also be up against Jelle Geens, who's just fresh off the win at Geelong, and obviously those two battled it out at 70.3 Worlds just back in November, wasn't it, or end of December? So it'll be interesting to see those two racing. We've also got the French duo, Vincent Louis and Leo Berger, just off his bronze medal at the Olympics last year. So it's the first time seeing those two race over this distance. So there's a huge amount to get excited for. The racing kicks off 2 o'clock local time for the women on Saturday, 3 o'clock local time for the men. So the heat and humidity is definitely going to play a significant role in that race. Now, if you basically just want to watch triathlon this weekend, you can, because we've also got Oceanside, which is the second 70.3 in the Pro Series. And the men's side in particular, there's some big names attending. We've got Lionel Sanders, who won it last year. He is back and, giving the usual talk. But we've also got the Norwegians. Christian and Gustav are both racing, and we haven't seen them in form for a couple of years now, and it looks from following their social posts that everything is going really well. So it's going to be really exciting to see those guys race. We've also got Patrick Lange on the start line. I know last year he didn't necessarily feature too much over that distance, but he certainly features over the Pro Series. So I'll be keeping an eye on him as well. The women's side, we've got Paula Finley racing, a previous winner, along with Tamara Jewett, who's also won this race previously. And then they'll be joined by Americans, Jackie Herring. We've also got Alice Alberts and Danielle Lewis on that start line. And then, in case you haven't got enough of triathlon, we've got the Super Tri-E World Championships, and there is a challenge race in Abu Dhabi, on an island in fact. It is Challenge Sir Bani Yas. I am racing. I wouldn't suggest tuning in to watch that. There is also a pro field over the half distance. That's the race. Well, not the race I'm doing, the distance that I'm doing. I'll be going off considerably after the pros. We're yet to have the confirmed start list of that, but if you are there, do come and say hi. If you do see me out on the course struggling, because I think the forecast is something like 42 degrees, and it's currently, I went in the water on the weekend and the water was 8 degrees, so my acclimatization hasn't exactly started. But give me a cheer and come and say hi if you see us out there. On to Tri Spy, and last week we had this outline of a bike course, and I think Mark and I were way too kind and actually gave you guys some clues, and it's evident that you needed no clues. We underestimated your course identification ability, because maybe it's just mine that I just saw some squiggly lines until Mark pointed out all the switchbacks, which we pointed out to you guys, and that's all we needed to say. The first to get it correct was the Crowded Planet, who says Alpe d'Huez. Yeah, it is Alpe d'Huez. Gareth Rowan says the race in the Alps, and we have Fire Exton says Alpe de Zwift. Yeah, a few of you. James HMD. Alpe d'Huez try, it's on my bucket list. I'm lucky enough to have done the Alps a number of times. Would love to have it in a try. We had loads who got it right. So, and lots of you who've done the course in the past. So well done. We're switching it back again this week to the eyes of the pros. Can you tell who this is in this week's Tri Spy? I'm not giving you any clues. You were too good last week. Good luck. Say what? Oh, I feel like I need the boys just to help level that one out. So sorry if you had your music turned up too loud. Right, I have read all of the lovely comments on the video that we put out over the weekend on my, return to running. It was my half marathon, exactly a year after my baby Magnus was born. And you guys are all just so nice. I'm not going to read very many of them out because it's a little bit embarrassing because you're all just too nice to me. But there's a couple here that I want to share. This one from Sophie Ann Stanbury says, what a great video. Love the no one cares message towards the end. Something we probably should all try and remember. And then she puts in brackets, and if they do care, they don't matter. I like that bit. That is a great way to think, isn't it, in life? That will get you a long way. We also have Waho Lola says, I'm a long-time fan of GTN and GCN by now. I legit get happy when I see this video about you guys and your lives. You guys have been almost every day in my house. That it most feels like we became close friends, even if you literally don't know me. Cheers. Well, we feel like we know you a little bit from your comments, so thank you for that. And yeah, if you guys have not watched that video, it is up. I would suggest, go watch and leave a comment. I will read it. And then coming up later on this week, I have done a bit of a deep dive, gone a little bit sciencey, into looking at whether fasted training is dangerous. And let's just say that there is a lot of science on both sides of this argument. And I try my best to sort of sift through it all and give you guys enough information so you can make your own decision. Well, hopefully you have enjoyed this show. Thanks for watching and still being with us till the end. If you are, we'd love it if you gave us a like. Cheers.